The diencephalon of the brain consists of structures that are lateral to the third ventricle, and includes the thalamus, the hypothalamus, the epithalamus, and the subthalamus. The diencephalon is one of the main vesicles of the brain formed during embryogenesis. During the third week of the development, a neural tube is created from the ectoderm, one of the three primary germ layers. The tube forms three main vesicles during the third week of the development: the prosencephalon, the mesencephalon, and the rhombencephalon. The prosencephalon gradually divides into the telencephalon and the diencephalon.
Thalamus. The thalamus is a large dual-lobed mass of gray matter buried under the cerebral cortex. It is involved in sensory perception and regulation of motor functions. The thalamus is a limbic system structure, and it connects areas of the cerebral cortex that are involved in sensory perception and movement with other parts of the brain and spinal cord that also have a role in sensation and movement. As a regulator of sensory information, the thalamus also controls sleep and awake states of consciousness. The thalamus sends out signals in the brain to reduce the perception and response to sensory information, such as sound during sleep. Function. The thalamus is involved in several functions of the body, including motor control, receives auditory, somatosensory, and visual sensory signals, relays sensory signals to the cerebral cortex, memory formation and emotional expression, pain perception, controls sleep and awake states. The thalamus has nerve connection with the cerebral cortex and hippocampus. In addition, connections with the spinal cord allow the thalamus to receive sensory information from the peripheral nervous system and various regions of the body. This information is then sent to the appropriate area of the brain for processing. For example, the thalamus sends touch sensory information to the somatosensory cortex of the parietal lobes. Location. Directionally, the thalamus is situated at the top of the brainstem, between the cerebral cortex and midbrain. It is superior to the hypothalamus. Divisions. The thalamus is divided into three sections by the internal medullary lamina. This Y-shaped layer of white matter formed of myelinated fibers divides the thalamus into anterior, medial, and lateral parts. It has anterior, ventrolateral, ventral anterior, pulvinar, lateral dorsal, and lateral posterior nucleus.
Hypothalamus. It is located below the thalamus and is part of the limbic system. It forms the inferolateral walls of the third ventricle. The hypothalamus extends from the optical chiasma to the posterior margin of the mammillary bodies. The nuclei are paraventricular nucleus, anterior hypothalamic nucleus, preoptic nucleus, supraoptic nucleus, suprachiasmatic nucleus, dorsal medial nucleus, posterior hypothalamic nucleus, ventromedial nucleus, mammillary bodies, and arcuate nucleus. Between the optical chiasma and mammillary bodies is the infundibulum, a stalk of the hypothalamic tissues that connects the pituitary glands to the base of the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus' primary function is homeostasis, which is to maintain the body's status whole system-wide. The hypothalamus is a section of the brain responsible for the production of the body's essential hormone, chemical substance that help control different cells and organs. The hormones from the hypothalamus govern the psychological functions such as the temperature regulation, thirst, hunger, sleep, mood, sex drive, and the release of the other hormones within the body. This area of the brain houses the pituitary glands and other glands in the body, as well as the hypothalamus is involved in the many functions of the autonomic nervous system, as it receives information for almost all parts of the nervous system.
Epithalamus. It is the most dorsal portion of the diencephalon. It forms the roof of the third ventricle. It includes the apennular trigon, the pineal gland, and the apennular commissure. The pineal gland secretes the hormone melatonin and, along with the hypothalamic nuclei, helps to regulate the sleep-wake cycle. Epithalamus connects the limbic system to other parts of the brain.